Good afternoon, Internet. My name is Paul Moyer, and this is my open air studio in Lake Forest, California. We're gonna make a watercolor paint from Jacques Media Wet. Actually, it's a textile pigment, and this one is burnt sienna. So we're going to try the burnt sienna. It doesn't shake. Always bring the knife toward you. Okay, there we go. So, I think I'm going to use a syringe and have a more precise measurement. See if I can pull out 15 milliliters. I'm not sure because it's so dark. There we go. So that, you would think, is going to come out pretty opaque. And I'm going to set that aside. It almost seems like I pulled out about 30 milliliters. And probably half the container. Wow, that's full. And what's more, it's pretty darn thick. I'm always doing this, but I'm mislaid the tablespoon. No, I didn't mislay it. I left it in the container. And let's see if we can use it. Looks like it's pretty thick already, so it may not be absorbing. There may not be much moisture to be absorbed. Everything sticks together. Trying to be neat about this. I used to follow Mike Chaplin's formula for making paints, but when you start using wet media, all measuring is out the window because you don't know for sure the proportions or the actual pigment that is suspended in the wet pigment. So it's a wet pigment, but it's not. It can't be all pigment, and it can't be just the pigment and water. So I suspect it is probably some sort of watercolor in its own right, right out of the jar. But Don't take my word for it because I haven't tried it, and I guess I probably should experiment with it, see what it looks like. Maybe it's a perfect, if it's thick enough, and I think thickness is important because we don't want it to be wet, and we don't want to wait for it to evaporate the moisture, and we don't want to make it extraordinarily transparent. Oop. She who must be obeyed is here. Hey, baby. Yep. That's her. No stranger. Oh, got a nice little breeze. Someone blow all my artwork all over. Oh, sorry for not speaking into the mic. There. I'm that much closer to the mic. I have about a dozen lapel mics and mics of all kinds, but I get up and sit down so often, and I don't know, I don't want to invest in a wireless system. Probably should, but you know, I hope this will be good enough. This is my favorite sports camera, made by DJI, and it seems to be all purpose for me. If I want to do close-ups, I just modify them in Photoshop, or not Photoshop, but Adobe Premiere. Well, that looks pretty good. Oh, it's too hot. I just used ever so small amount of glycerin. I want to keep it dry. The glycerin made it wet again. So it's wet again. The glycerin has that quality. It makes the paint slippery. And I really did put a very small amount, but it keeps the gum arabic from clumping, from being brittle, the paint or the paint on the paper. Apparently, if you don't put glycerin in, it becomes brittle. Okay. I think we're good, but unfortunately, because of the moisture I've added, it looks a little bit too soupy. So but let's go with it and put it in our field kit, our field palette. So burnt sienna and burnt sienna right here. Fill that pan right up. And we will make a tin of burnt sienna. Get burnt skin out of that. You're a better man than I am, Gungadin. Okay. Now, yeah. Oh, that's pretty good. Leave some room for water to use that pan for mixing in the field. I often thought that I'd have just little pans like this, but and they're a hell of a lot bigger than a watercolor half or full pan. So, you know, I just go with it. And my pigment container, so yeah, my ultramarine blue by Gamblin, the oil paint maker who sells their own pigments. Okay, so we've got quite a bit done today. We have 5 half pans filled with pigments, paint. And so we'll put away our little cans over. And we're going to test this one on the back side of another test sheet. We could clean that stuff off, couldn't we? Interesting. The gum arabic soaks up the water. You should just like sprinkle down gum arabic if you wanted to pick something up. We'll clean that. Well, the back side of this is going to look pretty neat. There, I glued it down. Won't fly away. We do have a little breeze. So, let's do a wet on wet here. And there's my badger brush. Now my mop brush. And we're going to put wet on wet. Now, wet on dry. Kind of looks the same, doesn't it? Definitely not transparent, except because I have so much water going on here. Yeah, I think even that little tiny additive of glycerin probably made this semi-transparent burnt sienna a freak. I almost sprinkled the roll of paper I have there. Let's pick that up. Let's try this. There's a big old sponge. That's why I don't use sponges. It seems so wet I don't need to spray it to make it more wet. Of course, shortly after laying it down, I see that it's staining. It almost looks a little chunky. It's definitely moderately, at the very least. Now if I just laid it down and it's still staining, that's either moderately staining or plain staining. Yeah, you're gonna have a problem getting that up. See if we can scrub it out, tug it out, scrub it out. We'll roughen up the paper. There, beat that up pretty good. It's moderately staining. Huh. Okay, well, that's the end of my test of burnt sienna. I don't like the wash. It's of the paints that I have used and have immediately mixed. I can see that this paint needed to be mixed better and ground finer. If you're just going to lay it down opaque on dry paper, or for that matter, wet paper, and a very stiff brush. Yeah, it's good for details, but I don't like it. No bueno. Okay, that's the end of the burnt sienna look. And if you want a decent burnt sienna, buy it. This is no good. Anyway, ciao, adios, arrivederci from Southern California.